Yo, what is up, guys? What is poppin'? We are back with IDM Week 4. We are facing ZAMCRO and the Blackmont Raikougars. I think he started season 2 and 1, and I started 3 and 0. Definitely should be a fun one. And like, he's a long-term rival of ours. He knows how we play, how we build. Definitely like one of the guys who always gives me really good battles and has beaten me often in the past. But let's go over my team real quick before we hop into the replay. I decided to do like a short team builder because I think the team I built is super sick. It's a really good team and a team versus a tough matchup. McGee and I here, one of my win conditions, Shift Gear Combine, Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam with the Ghost TMZ. Basically, at +1, O cost of 2 KOs, everything on my opponent's team after rocks and a spike or toxic spike damage. As you see, I bring Quillfish here to set up those spikes. um, Never Ending Nightmare is the move that Okos Cofergus and deals with other counters that my opponent has, for example, an Entei that could give me fits at some point during the match, because my Entei answers aren't that great. Obviously, I got Quillfish here, as you see, um, as like a check to physical Entei, but Entei is my opponent's Z Captain and definitely could bring something like Z Sunny Day, which I really expect. And also could be like Bloom Doom or whatever with Solar Beam and Weakness Policy Sunny Day or whatever. Like he could do a lot of could do obviously Weakness Policy Sunny Day. Obviously not a Z move then, but definitely could be a mon that can like if I prep for the wrong set, it could definitely sweep me pretty easily. So Quillfish is my answer to physical Entei. Poison Jab, Toxic Spike, Spikes, and Taunt. I can't really touch Entei. Obviously, Poison Jab does like 25 to 30%, I think, depending on the set. But I can get an Intimidate off, can set up Spikes on him, get Black Sludge back. And it also is a mon that prevents Tapu Fini from defogging. My opponent's only removal, I think, is the Tapu Fini, and I want to make sure that my hazards will stay up. And Taunt Quillfish with max speed will guarantee me that unless he gets the speed tie with the max speed Finny, which I don't really expect versus me, and gets the defog off on a speed tie, but then I could potentially just Toxic Spike again, or Revenge with the Poison Jab. Poison Jab, like, it's a fuck ton to Finny, so that could be cool. Next I've got my Zapdos. It's my dedicated check to Landorus Eye. I don't really expect Gravity. I expect more for Scarf Set or Life Orb Attacker with like 3 or 4 attacks, or potentially Rock Polish, but I gotta make sure that I can check any variant. The spread here allows me to deliver an Earth Power, obviously, after Gravity. It allows me to deliver Life Orb, Rock Slide from after Rocks, which is important. I outspeed, I think, Lucario or whatever he is on the squad. I think some base 90. Not sure which it was. I forgot he didn't bring it. I obviously outspeed Adamant and outspeed Modest or Adamant Landorus Eye, which is huge. So that could come in handy. I'm also pretty sure I creep or I like will outspeed something like Celebi, which it could bring. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, that was an overall very solid check to a bunch of mons that can like beat Cofarius 1 vs 1 unless it's a Trick Room variant or like a Toxic Stall variant with like Rest or something. I can get some sick damage off with the Thunderbolt. Also another check to Finny. I can never allow it to to get a defog off, as I said. Next up, I got my Crooker here. It's another backup check to Landorus I'm never too KO'd by Earth Power from full, which is hype. Can get some damage with the knockoff, obviously um, can like get rid of a life or potentially or choice scarf, which would open up the would open up the like would pave the way for Magiana to sweep, obviously, because then choice scarf Landorus can't outspeed my Shifty Magiana anymore, and then we can go from there. Pursuits is here for stuff like Entei that might not want to stay in. It's for Celebi that I can potentially pursue trap. Earthquake is just a solid way to hit Tapu Fini. That's like around 40% depending on the spread if it's like just max HP and not physically defensive. And like knockoff pursuit, like just solid damage overall. So very happy with the squad with the crook set here. Don't really need any speed because I need to bulk more. Next up we got our Cobalion here. Um, Definitely a fun one in this matchup. It's my designated Weavile check, with Quillfish obviously being the backup check, but I don't really want to lose my Black Sludge and Quillfish. Close Combat, Iron Head, Taunt, and Stealth Rock, with enough speed for, I think, Landorus Eye. Yeah, it was enough for Landorus Eye, which is good. and yeah, this close combat Iron Head, I can't really afford to run anything else. I could have gone with HPIs, but then I would have been walled by Tapu Fini, and then like can't probably revenge kill Tapu Fini if it's low. Like Iron Head does 20 to 25% with the investment I have, so that's kind of lit. And I obviously can taunt his removal and obviously his hazard setters as well. For example, a Celebi. Next up, I got my my Slowbro here. Skull, Psychics, Lack of Command, another solid win condition. Never to killed by by Weavile if I'm Mega Evolved already. Can choose some hits from Special Ante, obviously can choose some hits from Lander's Eye. Depending on the spread and depending on if you Scarf or not, you can't even 2KO me. I think Scarf Earth Power can't 2KO Slowbro, or needs a roll to 2KO. But for like all the physical attacks I check, I have to be Mega Evolved, which I don't really want to do too early, but yeah, we'll see about that. I may have to. So yeah, that's the squad. Definitely very fine team. I think definitely pressures my opponent a lot with hazards potentially. Once I get them up, looks really tough for him. But yeah, let's hop right into the match. So my opponent, as you see, decided to bring. Well, let me change this really quick. Decided to bring Lander's Eye, which was obviously coming. He brought Weavile, which made some sense with my team as it is like a solid pursuit trapper versus stuff like Delmice, which is one of my better answers to Lander's Eye. But because of Lander's Eye plus Weavile, I didn't want to have Delmice on the squad because you turn Lander's Eye into Weavile just makes my Delmice useless. So that's unfortunate. Brings the Tapu Fini, so it brings hazard control, which is fine. But as I said, I have enough ways of like of preventing default, hopefully. Brings a Celebi, which I figured would be as rocker, but also could be like a nasty plot sweeper, potentially, but like I wasn't really sure what the Celebi does, but as I said, I have a Pursuit Trapper and Crook, I have U-Turn on Zapdos, I got Magiana, which kinda hard walls Celebi unless it runs Earth Power, so unless I play really dump around that, that shouldn't be too big of a problem. Ante is coming, which is unfortunate. My Ante answers, as I said, are really like aren't the best because I can't check all the sets that could be coming. And Cofarius comes. I know my boy Scoot loves his Trick Room, Nasty Plot Cofarius, but I have answers for this obviously with Double Taunt and like Fat Magiana. Potential card my bro that obviously can't beat Nasty Plot but can like get some solid damage off. I have Zapdos, which can take a hit or two if need be and like put it in range, so shouldn't be too big of a problem. So if it's not offensive, it's like easily dealt with. Like, what can it do? Can I set up toxic spikes or set up? I'll go for toxic campaigns so they can Shadow Walk and Will-O-Wisp, but that's not too big of a deal for my team. So let's hop right into the match. Definitely like Magiana looks like a threat once I get rocks up and weaken potentially the Entei a little bit, so I don't have to waste my never-ending nightmare on this. I have to like make sure that I scout for Scarf Landers potentially and then like go from there. So let's run into the match. I decide to lead over with my Cobalion to potentially get up rocks early, but my opponent makes a smart lead and goes leads with Tapu Fini. So don't want to have my balloon pop just yet. So I go to my Zapper here. So my opponent just fires off Nature's Madness. Not too big of a deal. I will just roost off the damage here. This thing can't really beat me one versus one. Obviously, as he goes into Landorus, I don't have a reason not to click HPIs here because like if he sets up Gravity, I 2KO him easily and he can't Oko me back. And I don't want to like play around this this big threat here, and I don't want to have like my Air Balloon broken or Cobalion if it's like a U-turn set that wants to go into Weavile, even though that would be risky because I actually am a static set obviously on the Zapdos, but I figured he could very well go into Weavile here, but I didn't want to like U-turn out in case he wants to Rock Slide because then my checks for Landers wouldn't be that great. So Zapdos like keeping Zapdos healthy is important. So I fire off the HPIs as he makes a smart play, a really smart play, and goes into Weavile, takes the HPIs, and I switch out, expect him to knock off. That works out with me, works out just fine. He reads to be life, which is good because with rocks up and potential toxic spike later, he has like one or two switches left at max and like only one or two attacks. So I set up my rocks here as he goes to Cofarius. I will taunt this thing obviously because hidden power fighting would do like 40% max if it's quiet, but he really to have toxic, so maybe predicted something like the Cofarius to come in. But Cofarius can come in now, not Cofarius, the Crocodile obviously can come in now. I can take a Shadow Ball as he puts a nice double out into his Tapu Fini, expecting me to go potentially into my crook. So I will go for knockoff here so that I can get rid of the leftovers, so that I can pressure it with every switch, and because so that it doesn't like get his rocks back up. Surf wouldn't have done too much because I'm Assault Vest, obviously same with Moonblast. So I figured knockoff was a very fair play, especially if he just wants to go for defog. I can't prevent defog with my Crocodile, but it is fine. Goes for Nature's Madness, which is kind of annoying, but I can still chew one Earth Power from Landorus, depending on the roll and his investment. If Scarf, I can guarantee live it, so that's cool. But I go into my Zapper now. He goes for another Nature's Madness. I go for the Roost here. I think I fire off just a T-Bolt on the next turn, just in case, as he taunts me, just in case he wants to defog now. But he makes a smart play, goes into Celebi. But as I said, I have the U-turn here. I can't switch out after the T-Bolt and see what this thing can do actually to me. Go for the U-turn here, as he can't mind. Not sure like what his speed was, but he outspeeds me there. When we played, I thought he was like slower than me, and I didn't really notice. So go for the U-turn. He does some hefty damage to him. I will just taunt him here in case he wants to recover up on me, because I can't kill him with Iron Head. So I go for the taunt here. I will go into Crocodile on this next turn, eating the Shadow Ball, which now I think now after seeing taunt and not taunt, toxic, and obviously like I figured it was like more of a toxic paint split, Shadow Ball, and maybe Will-O-Wisp or late game Trick Room set or something like that. But I didn't expect him to have the HP fighting, which wouldn't have done much anyway. I go for the Pursuit here. He reveals to be a Colbur set, which makes sense versus me because I have like the Crocodile on the squad. But I burn this Colbur Berry, which is nice, which means now he has 2 KO by Earthquake into knockoff, or by 2 knockoffs after rocks. And I like this Clefairy is also a nice amount of health where I don't have to waste my Z Crystal with Magiana on this Kofek, because Shadow Ball does over 60 to Clefairy, so this is nice. Finny comes back in, not too big of a deal. I think I pull a switch into my Zapper here. No, I go for an Earthquake, trying to get some chip off. I like played my Crocodile really aggressively here because it doesn't outspeed anything on my opponent's team besides the Clefairy, and I can like I have to make sure rocks don't stab, and if I pressure Finny with the Earthquake, was it 2 KO range, depending on the set there. If I pressure him, rocks stay up and really like prevent Weaver and Ante from doing too much work with me. So makes a smart play, goes into Landorus, predicting either I reckon the potentially Magiana or Cobalion to come in, or like me to stay and go for Earthquake. All works out for him, but that obviously also gives him free rocks, which is annoying. Now that he switches out again instead of going for U-turn, I felt like he either didn't have U-turn or he's a Scarf variant. Like I was fairly sure at this point like that it wasn't a life upset, because he has support Stealth Rock, which means he definitely doesn't have the gravity, and like which means he doesn't have like really the coverage to break Zapdos if I play it correctly. Weaver comes back in on my hidden power. As I said, I just like played as safe as possible. Hidden power allows me to scout for Choice Scarf set in case he is like because he switches out anyway after this, and then like if he had the rocks, like he probably would have gone for it there, because it would have done a nice amount to my Zapdos, and maybe would have allowed him to sweep me with Celebi, for example, later, which like with Zapdos around, his life is kind of miserable because Zapdos besides Weaver kind of walls everything on his squad, so I figured like he may wanted to go for a rock slide there to like just pressure me. But I go into my Slowbro here now on the low kick. I figured he wanted to predict me to go into Cobalion. I also contemplated going Quillfish, which would have been nice and definitely would have been the better play, but in case he went for Knock, I didn't really want to risk Quillfish there because Black Slash is just nice to have. But anyway, Slower comes in. I will switch out into my Cobalion again, predicting him to keep his Weaver alive and go into like Celebi or Tapu Fini, but he actually goes for another knockoff, and now Low Quick will kill me from the range I'm at. So I go back into my Slowbro, but because I'm not Mega Evolved, because he makes a very solid prediction here, expecting me to pivot out because like he only has 2 life of hit left after this turn. Goes for knockoff again, and this is definitely a 2-hit KO after after Stealth Rocks and me not being Mega Evolved. So I have to switch out once again into my Cobalion. I think. And yeah, this is kind of annoying, but not to be going to Quillfish this time actually. Yeah, which makes sense because it covers both knockoff and low kick kinda. So yeah, he goes into Lando. Smart player, can't sack my crocodile basically. Scout for a set. If he goes for the earth power, that's fine with me. And earth power SSC does 31%. I mean, life orb Landorus does like 52 or 48, depending on rolls. So this means he's like close to uninvested, if not even completely uninvested. If you had some investment, they got a pretty low roll. But this means he doesn't have a life orb either. So this kind of confirms to me that this is Scarf because it's also like a very solid check to shift game Magina. And him being uninvested in Earth or close to uninvested means he can't outcommand Magina from full or after rocks even with the Earth power. So this is like really important, and this will come into play late in the end game as well. So Crocodile goes down. I sack my Crocodile here because I want to confirm him. Want to confirm that Choice-Scarf, if he wasn't locked into Earth power, he would have probably gone for like a knockoff to knock me out, or potentially like a Rock Slide, which would have obviously covered a Zapdos switching. But um, I can go into my Zapdos now. I will go for the Roost so that I'm guaranteed at full health, so I can never like get O-code by anything on this on my opponent's team. Go for a Roost, expecting to sack the Weavile, which is the play he makes. So Zapdos is back at full and is like in a really good good position. Cofarius comes in, it's at 48%. I go into my Cobalion here, predicting to maybe Pain Split or Toxic. Both plays have some merit on his part. But he goes for Pain Split, this works out great for me, which keeps him at 56%. I will go for the Taunt before going into my Magearna, I think. Yeah, I go to Magearna as he actually makes another very smart switch and goes into Tapu Fini. So he's like getting some momentum back after like losing his Weavile after not being able to break through Zapper, but it's not like not that wild for him. I can just go into my Cobalion, sack it here to any attack. If he goes for defog, I can spam rocks until he kills me, which prevents him from defogging, obviously. And if he stays there, I can just go for the Iron Head now, and he kills me with the Moonblast, so that's fine. Maybe he could have gone for defog there, but at this point, I'm pretty sure he might not have defog or just values rocks on my side more than rocks on his side. I will go for the T-Spike here, as he goes for Nature's Madness on my Quillfish. It doesn't matter too much because I get some nice Black Sludge back. And I kill him with the Poison Jab. He probably didn't want to go into Landers there, predicting me to maybe have also like Aqua Jet or Waterfall. But I set up my Toxic Spikes, and this is all I need. I don't really need spikes anymore, and I don't really like need a second layer of T-Spikes. So Quillfish is definitely like still useful in a sense that it checks physical ante, but besides that, it is basically now death fodder for me. He goes into Celebi, and I'm like, why would he go into Celebi? Like, if I stay in a poison jab, it just goes down if he recovers up, but like he can't like just he can't just like recover up in my face or Calm Mind up in my face because I have revealed the poison jab. But if he psychics me and knocks me out, I'm in a bad spot versus Entei. So I decide to make the switch into Zapper. It's like an overall safe play. It covers him going for recover or for psychic or so. And he goes for Calm Mind actually, which I think was a very wild play, but a play that works out because it will put my Zapdos in psychic range. So he's kind of forced to psychic here, which means I can knock him out with the HPIs. But psychic, sadly, depending on the set, gets a nice roll in his favor. Like really depends on the set. Might have given me a one more roost after switch into rocks on the Cofarius, for example, which means that Zapdos basically would have won the game. So now Entei comes in. I know this thing probably wants to go for the Z Sunny Day, but this thing also could go for like just an E-speed, and I'm thinking a lot what I want to do now. Like it's really tough to decide, but I decided in the end not to stay in because in case he is E-speed, he gives my Slowbro the guaranteed win basically because Slowbro is at 58 right now. E-speed doesn't even do 20 to my set if he's adamant, and Choice Bandit, so I could recover up on there on this thing, can go potentially for Calm Mind and knock some stuff out. But if he's Z Sunny Day, I have to pivot around this thing so that my Slowbro is at a range where Solar Beam doesn't kill. So I will go into my Slowbro here, and my opponent actually makes the play and doesn't and does go for the Z Sunny Day. Didn't lose much by it, but had I T-balled there, he would have gone down to poison 2 turns, potentially maybe 3. So I have to sack my Zapper here, get my Slowbro back at a solid amount of health as he reveals the Solar Beam. But because he isn't boosted yet, Solar Beam can't knock me out. If he's modest, he needs like a complete max roll. I think 69% is the max he can do if he's modest. And if he's not modest, which I think he can't be because modest +1 anti would still be outsped by Scarf Crocodile, for example, by Scarf Zapper, all this kind of stuff. So I figured he was more likely to be timid. And in this case, he can't kill me with Solar Beam. So I just didn't go for a Psychic, which is a roll to knock him out. If it doesn't knock him out, poison damage will guaranteed do that. And Slowbro lives. As you see, does only 51%, which is a low timid roll. Maybe it's also like just jolly with Solar Beam plus Sacred Fire. So, and now Landorus comes in. I don't have a reason not to sack my Slowbro here. In case he switches out, I can just 2-hit KO Cofarius potentially after rocks, and the Toxic Spikes guaranteed can like recover up on it in case he doesn't run any speed, or like maybe a minus speed nature even. And if I see what kind of stuff he locks himself into, I basically have to win with Magearna. If he goes for Earthquake, if he has it, I can go into my Quillfish and then like have like sack this to the Earthquake, obviously have this thing in -1, then have the like 50-50 with Magearna in the end. If he locks himself to the Earth Power, Magearna wins this game from here on out because I can go Magearna, live on Earth Power guaranteed. I think maybe it was a roll. Yeah, it was a roll, but if he goes to goes for Earth Power, yeah, I can go into my Magearna Fire of the Never-Ending Nightmare, which knocks out both Cofarius and Landorus. Landorus takes 80 to 94 if it's uninvested in HP, and you can't have too much HP investment, if any at all. So this is a guaranteed kill. And if he goes into Cofagrius, I get the Soul Heart boost after the knockout, and will guaranteed kill this thing with the Dazzling Beam. So sacking Slowbro here, guaranteed win for me if he goes for Earth Power, and he does. So, well, guaranteed win in the sense that he needs like a really high roll. I think I calculated after the match, does like 79 to 93%. I'm at 88, so if I lift this thing here, I can knock him out with the Never-Ending Nightmare. He does 85.5%, so gets a nice mid-roll, but not enough. And Never-Ending Nightmare will drop this lander on his back and will knock out the Cofarius on the next with the Shadow Ball. So this is gonna be GG again. I'm really hyped game. I really came down to the wire. I had some wild rolls in there with the anti on the Slowbro, potentially with the Earthbound and Mag, with the Psychic on my Zapper, but we are able to clutch out the win here, which is really hype. So GG to my man Scoot, aka ZAMCRO. He drops to 2-2 right now, I think. Maybe he just had 2 games yet, but definitely one of the contenders in the league, in my opinion, because he has like a broken ass team. It was really hard to prep for. So in case I play him again in the finals, that will be really tough to prep for. But I think we like still have some tricks up our sleeve, so that we can potentially get a win versus him as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. We improved to 4-0 in the IDM. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I catch you in the next video. See ya.